combattant, en arte record, l'amour t'attend, toreador, l'amour t'attend, toreador, toreador,
Bravo, Toreador. Bravo, bravo. Oh, Przemek, that was so magical.
Bravo.
Thank you. So kind. Thank you very much.
So beautiful. Guys, we have an important announcement to make. We are now live on YouTube. We're very sorry about the delay.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I think we're finally now live on YouTube.
Me. All right, you know what? It's okay. We have huge amounts of compassion for ourselves at this time, I think, and for everyone else. I think if there's anything good that's come of this whole situation, right, it's a heightened level of compassion. So yes, I'm going to extend my compassion to the internet and to technology generally at this time. Okay, thanks so much, guys. Hi to all of our YouTube viewers. I'm so sorry if there's a little bit of a delay there. I hope that you're still there. Yes, I can see there's still quite a few people watching. So hi, everyone. We're so delighted to have you. My normal shout out to everyone as usual. We've got the usual suspects in today. We've got John Carissa in the West Village. Hey, we've got Darren in Berlin. We've got some friends in China watching. We've got my mum in Sussex. Hey, we've got Josh and Maria Ruga. Hey, guys, nice to see you. So thanks so much for your patience. Thanks so much for joining. So we're going to carry on with Carmen, but don't worry, I'm not going to sing to you the Habanera again. You're probably all reasonably sick of my rendition of the Habanera. I'm going to sing to you Carmen's second aria, which is the Seguidilla. Now, a Seguidilla is a traditional dance from Spain. And Bizet, as he does kind of throughout the opera, he makes these kind of very interesting pastiches using Spanish musical forms and Spanish dance forms. So this is a Seguidilla. And in this particular song, she has just been captured by Don Jose. Weirdly, we call him Don Jose in the opera because it's in French, even though it's set in Spain. So she's been shackled by Don Jose and she's tied to a post, basically. She's quite a naughty lady and she's been fighting at her workplace and all kinds of things like that. So Don Jose, as an army officer and a kind of policeman, he has tied her up. But by the end of this very persuasive aria, she uses her skills, her verbal skills, to get him to unshackle her from her bondage there. So this is the Seguidilla from Bizet's Carmen.
selon la sede roi di Manzania.
Well done. Bravo.
Thanks, guys. Right,
Well
I think
done.
we're going to the mic back over to Jessie. She's going to take us to a slightly different part of Spain, and that is Cadiz.
Yeah, so now we are moving to a different part of Spain, which is Cadiz. And this song is written by Delip. And during the time when Delip is writing La Vie de Cadiz, and at the same time, BZ was writing Carmen. So I was wondering if there's some like special influence from Spain. Delip was a professor of composition at Paris Conservatoire. So the other pieces that are really famous that written by Delip, and you probably have heard of the tune, especially if you have gotten onto British Airways a lot, is the Flowers Duet. And the tune goes like, that's Flowers Duet. We would like to sing that piece together. However, due to the technical thing and the internet, we can't actually do duet on Zoom, but we do have, Phoebe and I do have videos of us like singing Flowers Duet like somewhere on the internet. Apart from Luckman, which Flowers Duet has come from, because at the same time, it's also written the Pearl Fisher. So at the same time, they're also trying to explore a little bit about the accents from Far East. So I think at that time, in 19th century, some exotic tunes and accents of the opera would be really interesting for all the fellow European audience. So here we have La Vie de Cadiz.
Devant le dolor, trois garçons, trois vides. Cela l'épouse fait ses pas, il a danseuse amorément, ils sont des castagniers. Dites-moi, voisin, si je connais d'ici mon bassin pas baissé ma main, vous me trouvez en taille verte, vous me trouvez en taille verte. Nous dansions en boulevard de ce dimanche. Puis nous souffrions un tango, cousu d'or et de chapeau, il a poids sur la hanche. tu veux des mots, une douce sourire, si tu peux capter le temps, c'est votre chemin poussé, c'est votre chemin poussé.
Play.
Well done, bravo.
Brava.
Oh, thank you. Where are we going now? Where are we going next?
I guess it's me.
Yes, we have Przemek next.
Okay, so we're going to stay in Spain, but we're going to stay in a, let's say, in the Russian style. We're going to, I will perform the song by Pyotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky, Don Juan's Serenade. So the story is quite easy. We all heard about, you know, probably the greatest lover of all times, Don Juan or Don Giovanni, as most opera people know the name. The text, the lyrics for one of these romances that are coming from the Opus 38 was taken from different parts of Alexei Konstantinovich Tolstoy's drama Don Juan, which this is how it is pronounced in Russia, apparently. I hope that I'm not misspelling it. And what is very interesting, when you're going to hear the accompaniment for this accompaniment in this song is actually very runny. It's very hasty. It's like a horse in full run. Why, you might ask? You might find it yourself. You're going to have a translation of the text. But what I can say about this song is that it was created in 1878, and that was about a year after Tchaikovsky divorced. So it was a try to Tchaikovsky to relax after all the trauma of a divorce, and a way into full speed composition. So there are 6 songs. This one is one of my favorites from that opus, and the other one is called Svet Shumного Bala. So if you like Russian music, I encourage you to listen to both. And there are a couple of really good singers singing them, including the great Dmitry Khvorostovsky. So without holding you back, let's hope it's not going to be disturbed by any technical issues, and have a listen to Serenata Don Juan.
Гаснут дальние Альбухари, золотистые края. На призывный звон гитары выйди, милая моя. Все, кто скажет, что другая здесь равняется с тобой, всех любовью сгорая, всех завода смертный бой. От лунного света зардел небосклон, выйди с этого, выйди с этого, скорей на балкон. От Севильи до Гренады в тихом сумраке ночей раздается серенады, раздается стук мечей. Много крови, много песней, для прелестных льется дам. Я же только всех прелестных все песни кровь мою отдам. От лунного света зардел небосклон, о, выйди с этого, о, выйди с этого, скорей на балкон.
Bravo.
Oh,
Beautiful.
beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Really.
It's such a wonderful song, and I so rarely hear it sung, but it's
Yeah.
so majestic, and I feel like it perfectly captures the spirit of Don Juan, right?
I mean, for me, all the accompaniment and all the piano, like it's like a horse in a full speed. And I remember my first voice teacher told me, like, well, imagine that you're going from one lover to another one, and you're really, in a rush. So you just have to run, and then you have to sing all those lines like, "Oh, come to the window, I will love you forever," and then you just go. Well, that's for me.
I think that's one of the fantastic things about an education in music, right? Because there's certain things like that can't possibly be conveyed, online or in a book. It's just someone's got to tell you it in that exact way, and then it means something.
Yeah,
Very nice.
totally. Yeah, I think a lot of the time when I'm in singing lesson, it's more about like how to debriefing like a poem, and then my teacher used to tell me, "Can you now think about like it as a picture and try to paint like this picture? So where do you see the people? Where do you see the trees? And oh, you see a lovers on the field, but how are they interacting with each other? Like paying so much into the details, and it really makes your singing means much more."
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, sorry for the slight pause. I'm just posting the donations link onto our YouTube chat because we had a couple requests for it. So yeah, it's helpthemhelpus.co.uk/donate. And then you can make a donation of any size or description there. So thanks so much, guys. And yes, as Edmund said, big love for our NHS heroes. They're the biggest stars of all today. So we're really happy to be able to sing to you. All righty, so I think we have got one more piece left in the first half, and that is another sea journey type of piece. So I'm going to take you on a journey. Well, where will it be? Let's see. So we're going from Spain to somewhere else in Europe. All right, well, let's imagine it's like the Mediterranean Sea or something like that. So this next piece is called Where Corals Lie, and it's by the famous British composer Edward Elgar. Now, I really love Elgar's vocal music. I think he's such a special composer because really before him, the most famous English composer had really been Handel, which is an ironic thing to say anyway, right? Because as we all know, Handel wasn't really English. Of course, he spent a lot of time here and composed a lot of music here, but he really was German. So prior to that, there was Henry Purcell. Now, for those of you who want to tune in next week, you might get to hear some Purcell. But so there really was like a 300-year gap of an amazing British composer of opera and vocal music and symphonic music. So we're really just so lucky to have Elgar and his all of his beautiful oeuvre. He came from a background which, you know, in the Victorian times, no one may have realized that he was going to become such a famous musician. Indeed, he came from not a wealthy family at all. In fact, he had no formal musical education beyond the fact that his father owned a little music shop and he would read the books there and he would practice on some of the different instruments, but he really was an autodidact. So he taught himself violin, piano, a bunch of different wind instruments, and he also taught himself, of course, orchestration. But he didn't have the opportunity to go to music college like so many of us have had that wonderful opportunity in life. He, in fact, at the age of 16, had to train as a solicitor's assistant. And it really wasn't until his 40s that he gained international recognition. But I give him so much respect and admiration for just creating his music anyway, even when no one had any particular faith in him, no one really knew about his music. And one of the other really lovely nuggets of information that I found out about Elgar was that in his sort of 20s and 30s, he was doing a lot of kind of provincial work, kind of conducting different choirs, leading different little concert bands. And quite a few of those were actually in therapeutic environments. So he had a job at, a mental health institute. It had a rather more unfortunate nomenclature back in the Victorian days, which I won't mention, but so he worked at a mental health institute for inpatients. And there was actually a resident band there, and he would write different dance pieces for that band so that they could play to the patients. And he also worked in a school for blind people. So I know, you know, today we're talking about the NHS, we're talking about those people that, that really devote their lives to help us. And I think in some way, Elgar was also amongst those, in that he created music in environments that wouldn't normally have music. And I'm sure he uplifted a lot of different people that way. So his famous song cycle, Sea Pictures, it's one of the most famous orchestral song cycles really in the repertoire at all. And it was written for Clara Butt, who was a really famous contralto at the turn of the 20th century. And indeed, when she premiered this work, she was dressed in a full mermaid costume. So you'll have to imagine that for today. But this is my favorite of the 5 sea pictures that we get. And it's called Where Corals Lie. It speaks about a mystical land under the ocean where the corals lie, and my yearning to return there. What's my flower?
Well done.
Dramatic
Wow.
hair flower there. Thanks, guys. So I think we're going to take like a 5-minute break. We normally take for the interval. So grab a drink, grab a cup of tea, grab a snack, and we will be back with you in 5 minutes
5
time.
minutes.
Thanks so much, guys.
See you in a bit.
Hello guys, now we are back to our second half. So in the second half of the program, we're traveling to a little bit like more exotic places. So we'll still go from, where are we going first, Shamak?
Well, to be fair, with this song, it is not specified where are we going. The simple thing is that, because the title of it is The Vagabond, so the guy who is just, wandering, because he likes to go there, see this, see that, and the song is nowadays is the beginning of a song cycle called the Songs of Travel by Rolf Vaughan Williams, and all the songs in this cycle, as he didn't like it to be called the song cycle, they were first performed in 1904, so the beginning of the 20th century. They were written for baritone and piano in the originally, and then he wrote orchestral transcription later on. And the text is taken from a Scottish novelist and travel writer, Robert Louis Stevenson. For what I have learned about this whole song cycle, it just takes and offers to the audience the apparently originally British approach, British take on the topic of travel. So I hope you will enjoy this one.
Give to me the life I love, let the lake go by me. Give the jolly heaven above, and the byway nigh me. That in the bush with stars to see, bread I dip in the river. There's a life for a man like me. There's a life forever. Let the blow fall soon or late, let the lake go by me. Give the face of earth around and the road before me. Wealth I seek, not hope, not love, nor a friend to know me. All I seek, the heaven above, and the road below me. Oh, let autumn fall on me, where I feel I linger, silencing the birds on sing, fighting the blue finger, white as milk the frosty field, warm the fireside haven. Not to autumn will I yield, not to winter even. Let the blow for soon or late, let what will be ere me. Let the story hang around and the road before me. Well, I ask not hope, no love, nor a friend to know me. All I ask, the heaven above, and the road below me.
Bravo.
Bravo, bravo, bravo.
Sorry, I have some technical difficulties now. I will try to resolve them in a second.
We didn't notice. You're all good.
Oh, that was, yeah, what was the difficulty?
Oh, I just lost the music on the way, so my speaker disconnected.
Oh,
Wow.
you covered that brilliantly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
And we're not paying attention to that. It's more important that we hear you sing. So yeah, Vagabond is actually my request for Sharmak to sing it. So it's like, yeah, thank you for doing that. Thank you so much.
Are you happy with it?
Very happy, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bravo. Yeah, so now we'd like to bring you to the other side of Europe. And now we're going to Italy. And the next song I'm going to sing for you is Lauletta's aria from Gianni Schicchi by Puccini. And in this aria, basically Lauretta is trying to plead her father to give her approval and try to arrange that marriage for her with her beloved boyfriend. And in the text, she's saying, "Father, please, I really love this boy and I really want to marry him. And can you please find me that ring? I will try to buy that ring in Porta Rosa. And if not, if I don't get approval from you, I would just jump like from Ponte Vecchio." And when Phoebe and I was trying to think about the songs of travel, we want to pick songs that give a specific idea of locations or special accents or maybe some folk music. And then she reminded me, how about O mio bambino caro? And because all the time, like when we talk about Ponte Vecchio, and when we go to Florence, we do notice, oh, that's Ponte Vecchio. And these days, I think it's still a really famous touristic spot. Like when you go to Ponte Vecchio, it's really busy all the time. I don't think there's a single time that I've been to Florence and not been to Ponte Vecchio, and like that I get a chance to actually jump off like Ponte Vecchio because it was just really crowded. And yeah, so we would like to bring you to Florence. And on top of that, this aria is one of the most famous tune in classical music. And I get the chance to sing this aria probably weekly. And I still find it quite a magical aria to sing, because after all this like frenzy content in the first half of the aria, she's saying, just saying all these facts, trying to pursue her father to give her approval. By the end of the aria, you just have this moment that you have a suspension and singing Pietà, like please, Father, please. And that's actually a really miraculous moment. Yeah, so I enjoy singing it, though I actually singing this a lot. So here we have O mio bambino caro, and this is actually the first ever aria I learned when I was taking my first singing lesson back home in Hong Kong. So this aria actually does mean quite a lot to me. Yeah, so hope you enjoy it.
Mi piace
Jessie.
Well done. Bravo.
Thank you.
I think Yashem might have heard me saying this line more than like 100 times by now.
Well, I can tell that you never sound better. I think. Okay, so as Jessie said, we are traveling a little bit. We were in Italy, and now we're going to move to Poland actually, and I will sing a song of one of my home country's composer, Mieczysław Karłowicz, and the title in English will be On a Calm, Dark Sea. In Polish, it will be Na spokojnym, ciemnym morzu. Mieczysław Karłowicz is probably not the best known composer outside of Poland. He was living in the time of political turmoil, which ended up with Poland being divided between the neighboring countries. And he was born like literally in the second half of the 19th century. He was heavily influenced by Tchaikovsky. He later on in his life he was amazed by Wagner, and these pieces actually are coming from the very first part of his composing life, and they're actually from 1896. So he started to compose in 1895 when he graduated from music college. What I can tell about the poetry and the culture of that times in Poland, well, basically wanted to regain our independence and become a country again, being visible on the world map. But when it come to like everyday life, we were very nostalgic. We love to think a lot because you couldn't really say everything you wanted. But on everyday level, it was just coming to a very deep, not always very happy realizations about life. The song that I'm going to sing now, On the Calm, Dark Sea, is probably one of my favorites by Mieczysław Karłowicz, although I have a proposed couple of those songs, and we just kind of agreed on some of them, but all of them are my favorite. I hope you're going to enjoy Karłowicz as well, because we're going to start with this one, and then we're going to go straight into the second one, if I'm not mistaken. But let's have a listen on the calm, dark sea.
Na spokojnym, ciemnym morzu chciałbym teraz leżeć w łodzi, gdzie już żagli nie ma białych, niszą statków nie dochodzi. Cały ciężar ten z mych ramion, co mnie zgina i obali. Chciałbym rzucić w otchłań wodną i na ciemnej leżeć fali. Naokoło niech mi cicho, niech mi sennie przestwór dźwięczy i niech ciemne głębie w słońcu kolorami grają tęczy. Tam 1000 mil od brzegu, na bezdeni pod jasnością, patrząc w niebo nieruchome, nie chowajam się nicością.
Thank you. Phoebe, I lost. I mean, actually, Jesse, Phoebe, I lost my program. The next one is it goes to the fields, isn't it?
It goes
Yeah.
to the field. Yeah, exactly.
Thank you very much. Well, this one is actually very interesting. This is my first song I ever sung. Back then, when I graduated, I was bass baritone. When I started to study this song, I actually was thinking that I'm baritone, but it was really hard for me to sing it in the original tessitura, which is set for a baritone voice. So I had it taken down couple of nice notes. Hopefully, if my speaker will work, I will be able to present it to you in original tessitura, in original tonation, original key. So have a look on the text, and I hope you're gonna enjoy that. It goes to the fields. Okay. I love technical issues.
Idzie na pola, idzie na pory, na łąki i na sady, na siwe wody, na śnieżne góry, na miesiąc idzie blady. Idzie bezmierną otchłań wszechświata, skąd blask dróg mlecznych pruszy. Idzie błękitna, cicha skrzydlata, muzyka mojej duszy.
Bravo, bravissimo.
Thank you very much.
Wow, I was thinking that's actually a really high note for baritone, isn't it? Like for the tessitura, like as you just mentioned.
Oh yeah, well this one is actually a G. This is a G, so it's it's a quite high note for a baritone. When I was studying, I couldn't imagine singing something as high as that. My voice was literally finishing on the top D, and it was it was hard, it was tough. But this one is quite good. I guess it's a very the style of this composition is very Slavic. I can't tell it's very Polish only, because I think it's very characteristic for all the Slavic nations to just have this sudden outbursts of happiness happening in a very strange moments of life, like it goes to the fields, it goes to the mountains, to the forests, the music of my soul. So everything that I want to follow, the music of my soul. Yeah. Well, anyway, so what's next?
Beautiful. So next, I think we have a Chinese song. Is that right? Yes. Okay. So, it gives me great pleasure to sing to you the next song. this is one of those songs that I've sung a lot over the last few years. And Jessie was talking about the first song she ever learned, which was O Mi Bambino Caro. I think this was the first song I learned in Mandarin. So it definitely holds a special place. And it's one of those songs that Chinese people all over the world probably know this song, especially if they come from the Sichuan region of China, which is where this particular style of folk music originates. So usually if I were to sing this piece, I wouldn't be accompanied by a piano like with normal art song that we sing in other languages. I would be accompanied by Chinese traditional instruments, so like erhu, pipa, guqin, guzheng, those types of instruments. So they create a really luscious, rich kind of vocal sound, and it's really wonderful. So it's a shame that that I don't have those lovely collaborators here with me today. But I hope you all enjoy this. And I know because we're on Zoom today, we do have some friends of ours tuning in from China. So 大家好，我们的中国朋友们，这首歌是一首非常有名的四川民歌，叫康定情歌。So I hope you enjoy. 希望大家喜欢。And this is a love song from Kangding town in the Sichuan region. It speaks about two different young people falling in love under the beautiful moonlight. Okay.
Well done.
Thanks, guys.
Oh my God, yeah, that's just amazing. And yeah, I have like friends like texting me, oh my God, Phoebe is singing in Chinese. That's a nice surprise. We're not expecting this. And wow, Phoebe yeah, is like talking in Chinese. I'm like, yeah, Phoebe does speak Chinese. Yeah. And you have all my respect because like, like folk songs, the tune always repeat and repeat. And like for all different verses, like sometimes you just, because like for counting, if you look at the text, it's actually telling a story, how they met and how they fall in love and how they want to, be together forever. And
it's so hard to remember which verse is which.
yeah, exactly. Oh my God. So now they're getting married. Oh my God, no, they have to meet first. Like that's my problem of like memorizing text all the time.
Exactly. Thanks, Jessie.
And here come to like the end of our concert. So we will be repeating the first 3 songs for our YouTube audience because sorry for the technical issues we had earlier. So we will be repeating Seascape, Sally Gardens, as well as Toreador. After we're finishing this part of the repertoire, and the Vedremo from Madame Butterfly. And this is actually a really interesting opera because it has raised like so much controversy based on its plot and its content. So for those who don't know about Madame Butterfly, so basically he's an American Navy officer. So he went to Japan and somehow he married a Japanese geisha who's called Cho-Cho-san Butterfly. And soon after the marriage, he left and never came back. And Cho-Cho-san waited for 3 years and still hoping for him to come back. And now 3 years, they actually have a son together. And of course, like Pinkerton, the Navy officer, didn't know about it until he came back to Japan one day, and he actually married another American woman and abandoned Cho-Cho-san. And so Cho-Cho-san was willing to sacrifice her life for Pinkerton. And at the end of this story, Madame Butterfly just decided if they can take the son and raise him, and she just committed suicide. And for the musical theatre, this also adopted this story, this plot line, and made it into Miss Saigon. And just Miss Saigon has put it into a different setting. They set it in the Vietnamese War, I think. It was between the American soldiers and the Vietnamese girl. And this opera is very interesting, the same for some reason, because somehow it does propagate stereotypes, because Cho-Cho-san was depicted as a really obedient girl who waited for and tried to sacrifice her life for the American officer. And somehow it just reminded me it was actually written 100 years ago. And back then, maybe the West and the East don't know each other that well. And I guess like Puccini has never left Europe. So for his understanding, that's Japanese. And I think even in Madame Butterfly, in the first version, he did use some Chinese music in the opera, which he thought that was Japanese. But that was like 100 years ago. We have all the respect for them. I think what I wanted to say today is these days we have like so much interaction between the East and the West. And I think this opera, the whole plot and the conflict comes from misunderstanding, cultural misunderstanding. And I think this reminds us how much of change we have made, how much progress we've made for the last 100 years. And I hope we can like keep trying to like have more interaction and have this kind of like cultural exchange, and so we can understand each other and this kind of tragedy won't happen again. And here we have Un bel dì from Madame Butterfly by Puccini.
my goodness, that was the most touching thing I've ever heard.
Oh, thank you, darling.
Oh, that was so beautiful. And I think everyone will agree your characterization and the sentiment that you put into that song was just so touching. Really amazing.
Thank you. It's always
Well done.
thinking like this role is kind of interesting because, because we always try to characterize ourselves like trying to play the role well. And when people look at me, like somehow they will think, yeah, so you look butterfly. Yes, I look butterfly, but I'm not really butterfly.
No, I know, because it's not like your character, but you do it so well.
I know we're close to that, but yeah, I try. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So what do we have now?
Well, so for all of you guys who I'm so sorry, those of you who are watching on YouTube, I know we were a little bit late to start. So I think what we're going to do now, if that's okay with everyone, is we'll just go back to the beginning of the program and we're just going to do those first 3 pieces that our YouTube audience missed out on, if that's all right. So we can just start at the top of the program and just do those first 3 pieces. How does that sound to everyone? Does that sound good? All righty. So let's start with Sally Gardens. So yes, I won't bore you all too much with my explanation, but yes, for those of you on YouTube who didn't get to see these first few pieces, this is an Irish folk song called Down by the Sally Gardens. Now the words in this version are by W.B. Yeats, who of course was one of Ireland's greatest writers and poets of his day. So he took some lyrics that he had actually heard just kind of sung by a lady in the village, and he sort of crafted them into this beautifully formed poem. Now it's set to a traditional tune, but this particular version is the Benjamin Britten arrangement, which I think many of you will recognize. It has a really, just really stunning piano accompaniment, very pared down, very simple, but just elegant, and it suits the theme perfectly. So also just to describe to our YouTube friends, the whole concept that we had for this concert was to take you on a journey. So using some opera arias, using some art songs, and also folk music, we wanted to take you on a little musical journey throughout Europe and also Asia, because obviously all of us can't travel anywhere physically at the moment, but we thought we could take you there with music. So so enjoy. This is Down by the Sally Gardens with words by W.B. Yeats and in an arrangement by Benjamin Britten.
She passed the Sally Gardens.
Bravo.
Done, so beautiful. I have a thought, like, why all these folk songs, they do have like a sad sentiment to it, you know, like Sally Gardens, Early One Morning. Like if you look into the text, and maybe like children start singing it, they realize, but when you're grown up, when you look at the text, oh, that's actually a really sad story.
Yeah, there's definitely some notes of bittersweetness there for sure. But yeah, I love the tune. The tune always gets me.
Thank you, Phoebe. And now I'm going to sing Seascape, which is also a song by Benjamin Britten. And so just a really summarized version of what I talk about the piece just now. So this is from the text is set by Auden, which is another collaboration between Britten and Auden. So this is a song cycle called On This Island. And on this island, and first some people would thought this is an imaginary island, or it was talking about Iceland, because when Auden wrote this text, he was actually in Iceland. But I think in the text, it's really obvious that it's talking about England. And the text saying that we will bring the water through the channels of the air. And also it mentioned the chalk wall. And I think this also gives us hints of the coastline, probably talking about the White Cliff in Dover. And so now we have Seascape by Benjamin Britten. Hope you enjoy it. And also side note, I have to say thank you to my friend Phoebe Yu, and another Phoebe, and
who recorded this accompaniment for me. Thank you very much, Phoebe.
What stranger at this island now? The lamp light of your daylight discovers, still standing on silent tree. Through the channels of the air, water like a river, the swinging sound of the sea.
Well done.
Oh,
Bravo for both of you, the pianist and the singer. Sounds very difficult. Okay, so I guess the last song that we're going to repeat for those of you who join us on YouTube later on is going to be a Trader's aria. So we started in England, and we just probably took a ship and go down to Spain, and actually to the south of Spain, where Seville is, and in the Seville is happening the next aria from Carmen by Georges Bizet. It's a Trader's aria that I will be singing, and well, there's not really much story to that. it's Camille who's the character singing. He is the famous of toreadors in Spain, and he's coming to a tavern to greet friends, drink something, and maybe meet some ladies. So he's gonna be bribing himself all about what his life as a toreador is. Well, I hope that you will enjoy this, and as I said the first time I was singing it, I'll be more than happy if you can join me in the chorus or in the whole aria if you're a singer yourself, if you know it, or if you just like it. Okay, so here it is, Votre Toast.
Votre toast je veux vous le rendre, Seigneur, Seigneur, car avec les soldats, oui, le torero que veut s'entendre, pour plaisir, sur les combats. Le cirque plein ce jour de fête, le cirque plein d'Iotova. Les spectateurs, et dans la tête, les spectateurs sont élevés à grand fracas. Apostrophe, épisode à base, pousse jusqu'à la fureur. Car c'est la fête du courage, c'est la fête des gens du cœur. Allons, en garde, allons, Toreador, en garde, toreador, toreador. Songe bien ou songe en combattant, que l'œil noir te regarde, que l'amour t'attend, toreador, l'amour t'attend. Songe bien et songe en combattant, que l'œil noir te regarde, que l'amour t'attend, toreador, l'amour t'attend. Tout d'un coup, on fait silence, que se passe-t-il? Plus de cris s'élèvent, les taureaux s'élancent en bondissant hors de la ville. Il s'élance, l'autre frappe, achève le rôle, entraînant un picador. Bravo taureau, il est la foule, le taureau va, il vient, le frappe encore, au secco, c'est bon délire, plein de filet, il court, le cirque plein de sang, oh, ce sang, oh, fragile et gris, c'est au tour maintenant, allons, en garde, allons, toreador, en garde, toreador, songe bien, oui, songe en combattant, que l'œil noir te regarde, que l'amour t'attend, toreador, l'amour t'attend, toreador. Songe bien, oui, songe en combattant, que l'œil noir te regarde, toreador, l'amor dato, toreador, toreador, l'amor dato.
Bravo, bravo Toreador. So great. Oh, you make such a wonderful Toreador, Przemek.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank
You
you very
really, really do. You really do. All right, guys. So we're going to have a couple of special extra numbers for you now, just as like a little bonus. We're going to get a gorgeous art song, another Polish art song from Przemek in just a minute. But I thought we would give him like 3 minutes just to catch his breath, and I will sing you just very briefly one of my favorite art songs, and it is by Schubert. It's called An die Musik. It's just really like a prayer to music, a prayer to the gods of music. And it's very short and simple, but I think, I think it rings true and it resonates, particularly at this moment in time, because I know that for so many of us out there in our times of difficulty and our times of trouble, music can really be such a great medicine for us all. And I know it's certainly cheered me on many of my dark days. The lyrics in this piece say, you beautiful music and art, you've uplifted my spirits, and in some of my grayest hours, you've reminded me that there's a better world out there. You've uplifted me to a higher realm. So yeah, quite lovely sentiment. So this is An die Musik by Franz Schubert. Guys.
Wow, that was amazing.
Oh, thanks. It's such a simple nice song.
Program. It's really
Yeah.
beautiful, and yeah.
Alrighty, I'm going to hand back over to our gorgeous baritone, Przemek.
Yeah, thank you. I really like the Polish composer Karłowicz, Mieczysław is his name, and Karłowicz is his surname. For some, it might sound, like opposite stuff. The song that I have in addition is a song of travel in a way. I remember quiet, bright, and golden days. So it's a travel in memory. It's travel in time to the times when we were children, when everything seemed to be simple. The beautiful day was a beautiful day. Golden rays of sun coming through the leaves were just stunning. And I don't know, maybe in the difficult times, some of you try to remember those times when everything was simple. The biggest issue was like, can I get that candy or that candy? I know that my that this is definitely something that I do on almost everyday basis, being now locked down in South France. I do remember all those beautiful golden days, and I hope you can hear what I mean in the music. So obviously this song is in Polish. Pamiętam ciche, jasne, złote dnie. I remember quiet, bright, golden days.
Pamiętam ciche, jasne, złote dnie, co mi się dzisiaj cudnym zdają snem, bo był otwarty raj także i mnie, bo był otwarty w dzieciństwie mym. I czasem myślę, że ja tylko spał, że całe życie moje było snem. Zbudzę się, raj ten odnajdę, com miał w dzieciństwie mym.
Bravissimo. Beautiful singing, Przemek, really so gorgeous.
Thank you very much. And I want to thank all of our audience, and I want to thank you to invite me to this wonderful thing. And I must say that this, like this camera is like really scary for me, as well as the microphone. I guess that most of unused to recording singers have the same thing. But it's a real pleasure for me. A bit of stress, a bit of new stuff, but definitely a great job. And to all of you who are still with us, that gave a donation to the charity that we're singing for today, thank you from the bottom of my heart, and from, I think, all of our hearts. And to those who haven't given anything because you just simply can't, we are more, I mean, I can't explain how glad I am that I have an opportunity to sing for you today, in this time when I can't sing to anybody unless I sing to my neighbor, who really hates when I sing because it's too loud for him. So thank you very much.
Oh, well said, well said. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, you're right. It's such a gift for us actually to be able to sing to you all. And yeah, exactly like Przemek said, it's this strange thing when we're looking at a camera. It's very different for us as opera singers because we're so used to standing on a big old stage and everyone else is just in darkness. You can't see anything. All you can see is maybe the conductor's hands,
Exactly.
So we're used to these big, vast, open spaces. But we're not really used to the kind of intimacy and indeed the technology elements. So yeah, we're really grateful for that opportunity, just to be able to sing to our friends all around the world, and maybe some people we haven't even met yet. So really, thank you for that gift. And again, we've posted a few times the link, but do check out this wonderful charity. Either way, it's www.helpthemhelpus.co.uk. You can hear all about the brilliant work they've been doing already. In the last few weeks, they've already raised over £1 million, and now they're on their way to reaching 2 million, which is their next goal. So thank you. And the final thank you, I guess, goes to our heroes, right? It goes to our NHS frontline workers, anyone who is really just basically keeping everything going at the moment. We're so grateful to you. So I'll pass back over to Jessie, but thanks everyone.
Thank you everyone for tuning in, and I've seen like really familiar faces. I will see you like tuning in every Saturday at 3 p.m. Thank you so much for keep joining us. And next week we will have another concert, teaming up with another friend of Phoebe and myself, Albert Montañez. He's a countertenor, and the next week we have a theme of a Queen and King, and he's because he's now in San Francisco, so unfortunately, he can't actually sing at 7 in the morning. So, I mean, for all singers, we understand, like, we are not morning people. Like, it's just impossible to sing at 7 a.m. in the morning. So he would pre-record his singing. However, he would be tuning in live together with us. And if you're interested and intrigued about how a countertenor voice works, so please tune in. And I want to thank you, Shamak, once again, and thank you for joining us. It's such an amazing thing, like to have him with us today. Yeah, he's an amazing baritone, and he's now working like in France. And yeah, so we hope to like see him again. Like maybe we can do like something again soon.
Well, I'll be more than happy if you will invite me. I'll try to prepare something if I will be able. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Really, you've added such a lot of magic to our concert today, Shamak. So thank you. Really.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Right. Thanks, everyone. And if you have any questions, suggestions, comments, feedback, anything like that, you know how to get in touch with us. So please just let us know. And we hope to see you all same place, same time next Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.